Hi there. Welcome to the YouTube channel for the UK Startup Partner. I'm Lee Lamb. I'm the founder of the UK Startup Partner. And all the way through the lockdown, what I've been trying to do is offer some suggestions and advice and support for any small businesses out there. Did it in March. Now we're going into the second lockdown, going to do it again. So hopefully you can interact with me. I'm just check to see, make sure that there is actually a live feed going on, which is always handy to have. But yes, welcome. One of the things that I talk about all the time is contingency plans. So in corporations, contingency plans, business recovery plans, they're quite typical. The concept of them is that you need to have an idea of what your business needs if the environment around you changes, whether that's a problem at your location or in the middle of a global pandemic. So in the video, the other video on this channel about what to do in contingency with a contingency plan in lockdown, it was quite a lot of different pieces of advice. And what I've tried to do this time is just make it a little bit more so that you can understand it a little bit more. So I'm just gonna check that, yeah, cool. So I've come up with a handy acronym that should hopefully help you understand what is the best way to go about looking at your business. So the term that I have used is what if, right? Because as a business owner, you have to get used to every now and then thinking everything's going fine, but what if this happens? What if that happens? And what we tend to do is actually try to focus on trying to predict what's going to happen. The problem with that is nobody predicted a global pandemic. So the minute that the situation you're in isn't one of the ones you planned for, you start losing your ability to really feel confident about dealing with it. So my what ifs are more about how do you make sure that you ask yourself the right questions and give yourself a level of confidence that no matter what the scenario is, you are able to actually deal with it. So I am going to share the acronym afterwards. I'm going to make you wait for it. I'm going to talk my way through them first, and then I'll show you, I promise. So the first one, the W, is where do your customers go, right? So where are your customers? If they can't physically get to you, are they online? Do they go away completely, right? For some businesses, you can't do any business while you can't physically be together. So it makes it very difficult for you to keep in contact with your customers the same way that you would normally. And it may feel like, well, what's the point of keeping in contact with them? I can't help them right now. But actually, there's a huge point to it, because right now, there are so many businesses that are going under, that are failing, that we have real difficulty in making sure that people know that we're still here. And as a small business, you need to be as visible as possible to your customers, even if you can't actually work with them right now. So where do your customers go is a crucial thing to know. Are you keeping a conversation going with them because you're waiting for them to maybe change over to a different technique? For example, if you do face-to-face lessons and you want to communicate to them that you're going online, or are you actually just keeping them up to date with, we're offline, we're completely shut down, but this is when we're going to reopen? That is an extremely important point for you to be able to manage effectively. The H of what if, or what if, is how do you keep your business running? Now, as I say, if the ability to take money in has gone, then you have to kind of almost put your business into a hibernation mode, right? You have to be able to look at the things that happen within your business. Your website keeps going. Are you manning the phone? Are you keeping the social media going? Everything that can help you make sure that your business still looks active. Now, this is particularly causing a problem for some of the limited company directors, because during the lockdowns, there's been really substantial government support, and that support has been predominantly to PAYE employees through the furlough schemes, or through small business loans, business rates loans, and the bounce back loans. Now, the difficulty is with a limited company, most of those versions have been avoided. You can't actually use them. And some limited company directors have caught themselves in a bit of a difficult spot, because even if you were a PAYE employee of your company, if you furloughed yourself, then you couldn't actually run your business. The only thing I think you could do was company secretary matters, such as making sure the confirmation statements were in and things like that. It was really, really basic. So if you furlough to get the money, you can't actually run your business, which is just crazy. But that's where all of the different supports actually made us get to. So if you were a company director, you had to make a choice, and you still have to make that choice. The same situation is still true for limited company directors. So you have to make sure that you understand, if you take on any of these financial supports, how do you keep the business visible? Even posting social media under your business name would be too much for the furlough situation. So it's really something to bear in mind. And what you want to do is keep it active and visible. You don't have to spend money to do that. Social media is free. We just need to make sure that the customers still know that you're there. The A of what if is, are there any liabilities that need to be covered? So when you look at all of the outgoings of your business on a monthly basis, how many of them are absolutely you have to do them? Now, if you have followed me for a while, you'll know that I bang on quite a lot about financial forecasting. That's because financial forecasting helps you come up with that baseline number of all of those commitments that you absolutely have to make. If you can't make them, then the company starts falling behind with creditors, or you may lose maybe premises, or lose access to things that help you keep going, such as your website. So understanding those absolute core things that you have to do is crucial. Now, I'm not going to lie, that can be quite a scary thing to look at when you can't see an obvious way for money to be coming in, but you are faced with a spreadsheet or a set of numbers that say how much money you have to go out each week. It can be tough, but this is the reality. To be able to manage your business, you have to understand the reality of your situation. Once you know whether there is a deficit or not, then you can look at what other supports are available. How much more do you need to make in order to meet that baseline? What we want to do is, when we place your business in hibernation, we want to make sure that it's still there, and effectively we're powering it down and powering it back up again the other side of the lockdown. To do that, you have to keep all of those commitments up to date, because what you don't want to do is come back up with a whole new set of headaches. So make sure you understand your liabilities. There is a key point to this, in that a lot of people, particularly as they start up a business, you've probably signed a hell of a lot of different agreements in the time that you've been going. Each one of those agreements will have terms and conditions. We're quite used to terms and conditions. Let's face it, if you have an Apple iPhone for any length of time, you've scrolled right the way through the T&Cs, because there's so many of them. With business agreements, it is critical that you read them. I know they're dull, but the reason you have to look up through them is because all of the protection that you would normally get as a consumer is not available, or can be severely restricted as a business. So you might have thought that you've signed a mobile phone contract. That's fine. If I run out of money or I can't pay it, I can just go back and cancel it. You may not be able to, because as a business, you sign a different type of agreement with these companies. So make sure that with those liabilities, and the cost of them, you understand what the exit of each of them is as well, just in case you need to do that. The T of what if is the technical solutions that could keep you going. So even if you're a technology company, it's really important to understand the aspects of your business that can still run via the technology platform. So are you going to be able to transfer anything online? I know that there are tons of businesses now who are frantically trying to get some form of click and collect version going, because the current government guidelines say click and collect places can stay open for that purpose. So if you're able to get your product online so that people can select it and then collect it from you at the door, technically that's a way of staying open, right? So is that an option for you? What can your website actually allow you to do that? In many cases, e-commerce sites are slightly different than your typical website page and may involve extra costs, but may be worth it if it means you can keep open. So understanding what technology is out there really, really helps. Make sure that you look at each of the solutions that you're using individually. The reason I say this is because you may have, for example, you may have Zoom and you might use webinars, and you want to be able to provide for a lot of people. So you might go for one of the more expensive subscriptions because that's normally what you have. But looking at what is more likely to happen right now, you may want to reduce to a smaller package. You might want to just reduce some of the filters on there to allow that number, that liability to go down a little bit more. There's nothing stopping you usually bringing it back up again later. Particularly software as a service, the platforms that we use tend to have a really, really good way of making sure that you can go up and down as you need to. They are a startup's dream. So make sure you use those in the best way possible. If you are introducing new technology to what you do, just be mindful that you're looking at it from two ways. You're looking at it from what do I want my business to look like on technology. So for example, if you decide to use something like Etsy or Shopify or any one of these standard shopping platforms, there will be a certain look that they will give you. Now, there's a certain amount of customization they allow, but overall, you're going to get something that looks like a Shopify shop or looks like an Etsy shop. That might be absolutely fine for your business, but it's just something to bear in mind, because if you have spent a long time creating a certain view or feel of your brand, you may have a little bit of a challenge to get it into the standard format that's available on these platforms. They are by far the quickest and cheapest way to get your business up onto online if you need to. So that's the what. Now we're going on to the if. So the I of the if is the income streams. So what alternatives do you currently have? Now, once you've worked out your liabilities and you understand whether you can keep trading, you know whether there's a deficit there or not. So if there isn't, fabulous. That's what we want to see. We want to see that you are capable of trading, maybe not completely the same volumes, but that you can at least cope with your overheads, hopefully a lot more than that. But for sometimes you will have to find maybe an additional source of income. Now, maybe that's taking on some kind of multi-level marketing. I think there's a lot of people right now who, because everything has gone online, things like multi-level marketing schemes really actually work quite well, and people are still buying. One of the things we noticed from the lockdown before was that actually the ability to purchase and the will to purchase didn't really change that dramatically. The customer base really did just move across to online. So you may actually find that you can maintain a certain level of income, and any companies that were set up to be online, if you can add them maybe to your toolkit, to what you offer, that can be quite a useful way. The government's financial support is always worth taking a look at. A lot of local authorities can help step you through what kind of funds are available for you. The one thing I will say about the financial incentives is right now their focus is on just getting the funds to people who really need it. And so the information that they require from you as to get the income isn't that clear. It's not going through the same regulations as if you did a typical loan, for example. So you do need to make sure that when you use it, you understand for yourself the strategy you want to use that money for. If you're using it so that you can keep those ongoing costs going, that's perfect, right? That's what it's there for. It's there so that your company can withstand this lockdown period. One thing potentially to think of is that as we come out of lockdown, whenever that is, there may be an opportunity, if you have some funds available, to maybe do some key promotion to really make a hit to say that you're back open and up and running. So you can use it like that as well. Use the money strategically and try not to think of it as just a pot of money to dip into. Think about it in terms of your financial forecast. It will definitely help. And finally, the F is for financial support for short-term crisis management. So these two are very, very similar. You can bring money in, or you can get money from other places. Now, there are quite a few of the government schemes available for this purpose, as I've mentioned before. But with the loans and the grants, obviously some are repayable, some are not. I saw a scary statistic last week which said over 43% of businesses that took the CBILS, the business interruption scheme funds, 43% didn't know whether they would pay it back or didn't expect to be able to pay it back. And it was nearly 40% of people who took bounce back loans. So there's an awful amount of people who are taking the short-term money absolutely appropriately, but they already feel that their business isn't going to survive this particular situation. It can survive. I think we have to remember that small businesses have got a huge amount of support from the local community. Everybody wants to help everybody out. Your job as a business owner is to help them understand how to do that. So if you do have to take any of the financial support that's available, make sure that you use it to cover those costs. Make sure you use some of it to maybe help you engage with the local community in whatever way you can to make sure that they know that you are here for the foreseeable future. It is so important to keep visible and to remind people that their money for your business is going to support a family, support children, support somebody who really needs the money. We have this really strange relationship, I guess, with larger corporates because it seems so removed from the people who are there, and we typically don't tend to offer that much support to corporates. We think, well, they've got enough money, it's fine. That is true, but I always feel for the people who work within those businesses because their hard effort matters just as much, I think. From a small business's perspective, though, that community that you're in really does care about you and they want you to succeed. We see that time and time again. So you can use that to help you and definitely look into local authority schemes because they are able to not only help you access the government's funding, but also maybe understand it from a local perspective of what will really truly work for you and your business. So I will now share the screen if I can find it. There it is. So here's the what ifs. This is the what ifs. Where do your customers go? How do you keep business running? Any liabilities that are covered? Technology solutions that could keep your business open? What income streams do you have? What alternative income streams do you have? And the financial support for short-term crisis management. All of these are questions that you can be asking as you go through situations such as the lockdown. If you've got these 6 things covered, if you understand your answers for each of them, you should find that you feel like you have a real plan, that you really understand what it is that you need to achieve and what kind of things you need to be thinking about to make sure that your business continues on. If you are going to be trying to weather this storm, stay open, stay trading throughout the lockdown, then please feel free to engage with the UK Startup Partner. We're on social media. We try to make sure that we get as many small businesses shouted out on our platform as we can. You'll notice from this channel as well that there are open for business interviews. If you would like to have a very short interview with myself where we talk about what lockdown has done for you and your business, and give you an opportunity to really show how strong your business is and what it is, it can be a really great way to allow people to really see what it is you're capable of doing. And from the previous lockdown, which are the ones that you can see already, I've heard from a few people who have used it during their own social media, and they've actually got some queries off it, got some business from it. So more than happy to do that for you as well. Obviously, we are also here to provide the service to you to help you step through these. If you're looking at these questions thinking, I haven't got a clue, and that is completely possible. I don't expect everybody to automatically be able to answer all of these questions. But if you find that you look at those and you think, I really don't know where to begin, then do consider subscribing with us. It's inexpensive in comparison with the consultancy packages that are also out there, deliberately because I want to try and make sure that it's as affordable as possible. And it works, because if you are bringing money in, but you don't understand the money that's coming out, you could be working really, really hard and still not really feeling like you're achieving very much and not creating that pocket of money that can help you get through times like this. So please do have a look on our website. I'll put the link below this video. Make sure you reach out to me on social media. I'm here. I'm trying to get out to as many people as I can to tell you that this is a difficult time. It's a challenging time, but one that the majority of business owners are more than capable of negotiating with whatever support is available or whatever support you need. So please feel free to contact me, and I hope that we will all see each other in a month's time to celebrate the reopening of the UK Incorporated. Thanks for everyone.